Before we begin, Mr. Pierpoint, I want you to take a moment and, in your own words, describe to me your most vivid memory from being aboard the ship.
It comes and goes, like ebbing tides. Sometimes I listen out for it, and there's nothing. Only silence, and others it's right there. Inescapable. I hear an officer on deck. He's getting desperate. It's chaos. But even that fades like misty breath. It's there. But you only really know it for a second. And there's just water. There's water everywhere. I get pulled under with the ship. I can't breathe. But the noise fades. Away for a brief moment. It's somehow serene. I feel at peace. Then there's a huge blast under the water. I'm sucked upwards through the waves, and before I know it, the water pulls me back to the surface, back where I belong. And that's the last thing I remember. My memory is... It's tough to piece it all together.
That's okay, Mr. Pierpoint. We'll get there. Sugar? Okay, let's try and work our way through this, shall we? Detective Inspector William John Pierpoint of Liverpool City Police, born 1865, stationed aboard the Lusitania to intercept any possible German agents found on the ship. My notes say you apprehended 3 German stowaways who were subsequently lost during the sinking. Does that sound about correct so far?
More or less. Yeah.
Relax, Mr. Pierpoint. I know the room looks different from that side of the table, but I assure you, you walked in through the same door you always have.
I'm more concerned about walking out.
In due course, Mr. Pierpoint. In due course. Tell me about the stowaways.
Soon after we left New York, I was summoned by Staff Captain Anderson. The masters at arms had found 3 Germans in the ship's pantry. They didn't speak a bit of English.
Anything suspicious about them?
They wouldn't say a word. Not even to my interpreter. I couldn't garner any information about their mission, but deduced that they were spies from the photographic equipment they were carrying.
No doubt sent to record what was on board. What did you do with them?
I did the only thing that I could.
Which was?
I locked them below deck.
It's a beautiful irony, isn't it? Sunk by the very men who put them there to spy on us. Not that either side of it knew. A simple case of miscommunication.
If only I knew then what I know now. Not a second passes that I don't think about it. I should have helped them. I tried to. You have to believe me, I did.
You shouldn't worry about it. The way I see it, that's our only tiny sliver of light at the end of this tunnel of darkness. That they killed some of their own.
They were mere men. The same as you and me.
They were the enemy. You did the right thing.
They're barely meters away. Maybe 20 down the corridor. But by now it's submerged, and the water's rising at my feet. What am I supposed to do? The water laps around my shoes, coats my ankles, and suddenly I'm knee deep, vicious, cold. I can feel my breath. That breath you only feel for a second. And I turn and I run. I just left them there. What could I do? I head to the upper deck. And the chaos, it floods back.
And then I know. I can feel it. Deep down inside. They're gone. It comes and goes, like ebbing tides. Sometimes I listen out for it, and there's nothing, only silence. That peaceful silence, like being alone under the waves. Then comes the explosion, and I'm dragged back to the surface of the water, back where I belong. Hello? Detective?
Relax, Mr. Pierpoint. I know the room looks different from that side of the table, but I assure you, you walked in through the same door you always have.
I'm more concerned about walking out.
In due course, Mr. Pierpoint. In due course.